Hello, everyone.
Good morrow.
Wow.
Salutations.
Indeed. Well, it's our first, proper chat of the new year. I know we had the thing on the 2nd, but it's like our first recap of the new year. And we get to recap the insanity, the post-sanity that happened.
Whoa, wait
yes.
a second. Hold on. What's this called again?
We've rebranded. Come on.
Well, I mean,
It's
we're
the
still,
Rolly
What's the
recap.
brand?
we're
The
still
Rolly recap. Yeah.
It is called the Rolly Recap, and I do like that. But we're still under the post-sanity brand, aren't we? So,
Yeah, it sits up there in the corner.
Indeed. Yeah. Down there. Am I looking the right way? No, I was looking the wrong way. I just saw it myself. Yeah. But yeah, very cool. Very cool. Well, that was an episode, wasn't it? I mean, I feel like before we get into the episode recap proper, we have to talk about let's be honest, the best bits, which were the intro, the interval, and the outro videos created by Ben, Josh, and the Nash family.
Yes, that was fun. That was really fun filming that. You could probably tell we had fun filming that. I thought we were going to do really sensible bits to camera. And
What were you thinking?
Absolutely
got
not.
there.
Did you hear yourself say what you just said?
No,
I know,
clearly,
right?
No.
What are you on about?
Sensible.
I went planned though as Julian, so I didn't know. I just thought I'd be in the background more. No, clearly not.
You were very much in the foreground, mate.
Probably too much.
I mean, you wouldn't be quite Julian if you weren't.
Yeah.
That is very true. But, and just to say, there's some really funny ones coming up as well. Because I
Oh,
remember
no.
the other ones. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I was talking to Ben earlier and saying I'd really like to do some more. We can do. They're very fun. Very fun.
Well, Agus, I've been developing. This is totally side tangent, but we're talking about. I've been developing. You know how last time we were on stream, we talked about making little films of our own. I've been developing a Virgil backstory intro.
Oh, I like that.
That
should be cool. That'd be cool. Has it got a little horror flavour to it, seeing as that's what the other guys were doing? It doesn't have to. We'll do whatever the hell we want.
No, it's going to be like kind of backstory, just kind of like a serious backstory, very dramatic.
Oh yes, yeah. But I like that. But at some point something stupid is going to happen at the same time. But
Oh no, the way I want to once I kind of develop it and send you something, you're gonna get the stupid bit at the end of it.
Yeah,
it's gonna be very serious and stupid.
yeah, play it straight until the end. Yeah.
Oh, I've sort of told Rob my idea for mine, and
Oh yeah.
it's pretty stupid.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's yes. Yeah, might be someone familiar turning up in it as well.
Oh,
But as a parallel universe character, because of
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I have had no ideas.
Well, it's a short film, isn't it? And that's difficult for you.
Yeah, I'm not good. I mean, just look at my one shot. One shot.
Yeah. Yes.
You're one shot 18 hours.
One shot, 5 parts.
Yes, just in case you didn't know that, this Shooters and Sympathies was meant to be a one-shot, and we're going to at least 4 episodes, maybe more. So, yeah, well, I suppose we'll see. But, that gives you an idea. I mean, to be honest with you, we spent a tremendous amount of time just mucking about in an airship, which was, let's be honest, hilarious. But
It ended well as well. Which was
Bunch of airheads on the airship.
Absolutely. The other thing I just wanted to ask Mr. Josh about was just in regards to the rules. So obviously you made some little changes to Lasers and Feelings, adding in a few extra points. I'd say just to improve or differentiate the combat in particular. But you brought in the sort of the 5 hit points, the 3 heal points, and sometimes adding in the tougher rolls. What was you thinking on that?
Well, the main idea was just to give it some stakes, because as much as I love lasers and feelings, we're basically invincible until we decide that we're not.
Whoa.
So
Easy.
Wow.
Had a death.
We have.
yeah, but we talked about it first, and then it was a 1 in 6 chance, and then another however many rolls. So I wanted to add some
That big stake.
moment by moment stakes by making it painfully clear that you could die real soon.
There's a chance of death, I think.
Apparently you're quiet, Josh.
Yeah, no, I've been trying to sort out my mic. Hopefully it's a bit better now. The levels are showing.
Okay, well.
What we're trying to do is stop Josh from talking too much, because we don't really want to hear from him about his
not at all.
idea. That's the last thing you want. Can I also ask as well? I didn't put this in any of the questions or anything, but where did the idea originally come from?
Of doing hit points and stuff.
The whole Shooters and Sympathies.
The whole Shooters and Sympathies. I think we had it on a stream.
Yeah.
There was a stream. What was that?
We want to do something with cowboys, and you were like, "Oh, I want to do cowboys."
Yeah, it was basically that. Yeah, I don't know if it was a recap or if it was one of the old streams or something. But it was a long time ago.
I think it was a long time ago. I think it was just on one of our streams.
I don't even know
if
if any of the episodes had come out at that stage, or if it was before, or maybe it was the first one had come out or something. I can't remember. It was April or May, I think, last year, and I was like, "Oh, I'll do a thing. I'll do something. Cowboys. Yeah, I'll do that." And then I did that.
A simple one-shot.
Simple one-shot. I mean, in my head, the structure, when obviously I'm restricted on what I can say now because it's such a plot-heavy story that I don't want to give away spoilers or anything like that, because there are spoilers. But when we're all done and dusted and the game is finished and the story is told, I will show you my initial notes and my initial timeline that I did, which had 5 major things that were meant to happen. So far, we filmed 2 episodes. I will say that we're filming next week, episode 3, because we only like to film Shooters and Sympathies once every 6 months.
It does kind of feel like that, doesn't it?
It's really good. It's really easy on all of us. Because I definitely remember what happened, and these guys definitely remember what happened.
Yeah.
It's really easy.
Flow.
It makes the story flow so easy. There was 5 initial major story points. You guys so far have done 1 of them.
Jesus.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh.
I will say I put a maximum of 2 story points in my laser and feelings, because I know I'll never get. Sometimes we only ever hit 1. It's almost impossible. But wow, that's roughly 6 hours. 1 of your story points hit. So only another.
It's close. It's a bit warped, because obviously, as you guys know, you change things on the fly to make things fit. So what would have been a kind of sequence of story points hitting one after the other in kind of roughly the same space, it's getting a bit back-ended, but that's okay. I think it's interesting, and I not really in this episode, but in the next one I added stuff just to kind of make it flow better. We'll see. We'll do a proper recap at the end where I can go through the plot and stuff and look at story things. But for now, we're limited on what I could say story-wise, because it's not done yet.
I can imagine. So should we start with the episode itself? So we begin with a bit of plagiarism, because we all start in a bar. I don't know where that idea would come from. But yeah, sort of a chance to meet all the characters and get an understanding of who they are. I like these characters, I gotta say. They're all extremely different. I know, obviously, Sir Julian is Sir Julian, and he's not different. No, it's the only difference is he has a bow. But apart from that,
I would actually say he is more chaotic.
is that possible?
Yeah, I think he is.
I don't know. I am not sure.
Oh, okay. Oh.
That's the sound of a scarred man right there.
Yeah, right.
That's true. Okay, all right, well.
Sound of a man who had to take you to an entirely different planet.
That was Barry.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Barry, yeah. Oh, okay.
Well, that's true.
There you go, then.
There you go. So, hold on. You're sort of saying you see me as Julian, then, aren't you?
You are Julian. You are Julian, but he is slightly more posh. Slightly.
Only slightly.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. But nice way to sort of have an introduction to the characters, go round and talk to them. And then we have this young lady who, in her red dress, who comes and passes Sykes a note. And, I mean, it gives you an idea of the type of characters that we are. We all immediately try to steal it.
So funny. Do you know what? I created that character, that moment with that character, specifically to try and make you do stuff. And so funny to me that the thing that you did was go internal and infight, as opposed to I was like, what will they do? She comes in, she's mysterious, and she leaves, and maybe they'll chase her, maybe they'll go after her, try and see who she is and what she's doing, or maybe they'll go somewhere else. No, gonna fight over the letter.
But the funniest thing about that is we get everybody starts going off to do their things, and I think it's Mia's Dr. Fortescue that says, "Can I just see the letter?" and Sykes is like, "Yeah." So we did all that, and it was like, you could have just asked. Why the hell did we do that?
That's okay.
So dumb.
Okay, you don't ask.
Yeah. But fortune favours the brave. I like that. That's one way to to start a plot, is give us something we have no idea about, and that certainly begins to show itself by the end of this episode, I would say.
I like some mystery.
You do. So Sir Julian obviously heads straight to the cockpit, and it's all fine in there, no problems whatsoever.
Yeah, nothing. It all goes to plan, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think he was sort of let down by, the other pilots. They really didn't help. I mean, if he was allowed to supervise them properly, then it would have been fine. But they clearly hadn't been to space school.
I mean, it's not like they had a capture or anything.
Hold on. It wouldn't be space school, would it? What would it be? It would be...
Western school.
Western school. Flying school.
Steampunk school.
Airship school. Yeah. It wasn't just finest hour.
The thing that I don't get, so that obviously the captain doesn't like you immediately. That was always going to happen. People just don't like Julian. But
that is true.
It's the fact that basically he's just doing his job, and then you push him over and start getting pissed off at him. And yeah, exactly.
I mean, what did you expect? Of course. Julian doesn't like being told what to do, especially if there's a piloting involved. So it was,
But I mean, you're already causing problems, because that means the ship is already listing to one side. It's already begun, let's say, and it only gets worse. Obviously, from that point, Slotra, trying to be a humble host, tries to go to the kitchen to find Sir Julian Sabovril, as you do, and ends up finding some evacuation rafts. We won't need those, don't worry about that. And then Sykes, interestingly, wants a tour of the ship. I was going to ask you, David, what was behind that? Why did you want to know the inner workings of the ship? What knowledge did you have that we didn't?
I mean, Without kind of giving too much away, more based on what actually happened in the episode, he obviously has an interest in like the steampunk element of this world. He's very interested in like if you hear him, even though he's quiet as a person he is, he's basically the uncharismatic version of Virgil, and he's very like quite done. You spit out your teeth. There's a pen.
Oh yeah, you nearly made me spit out my coffee.
I saw you go.
I need to find a name for you then.
So it's he's very like, because obviously they're both cowboys, but he's very more quiet and kind of an intense person. He also doesn't drink. He's very the polar opposite. But he has this he's definitely more of an intellect than Virgil. Virgil is very charismatic, very boisterous, very blustery. Whereas so he's very more kind of a even though you don't really get a sense of that off the bat, it's an inkling to kind of the fact he's more interested in the how does everything work, like it's amazing contraption, this airship. Can I have a tour, please?
Just to say, we've had one of the stars of the show, Janet Makes, come into the chat.
Quite excellent in the intros and outros.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It is the one where the hats get stolen, isn't it?
That's no. That's the next week's one. Is the hats getting
Spoiler.
stolen.
There you go.
Whoa!
No.
Whoa!
Okay.
Blimey.
Well,
I know you really
that.
That was excellent for your reaction to it.
Quality worse than Tom Holland, man. Fucking hell.
So yes, you head on to I think I'm right in saying this is where you find Javier, who I've put in brackets as the best character because he's the best character. And head on to the bows of the ship with Dr. Fortescue following, and then doing a wonderful swan dive down the hatch and not having any injuries whatsoever, which I'll be honest with you, I had no plan for anything. I just thought I'm going to act as a drunk man and let's see how far we can take this. And I got to the end of this episode, I was like, I can push this so much further than I thought.
Welcome to our world.
Yeah, right.
Now you know why it's fun. Annoying.
I already know from D&D, but now I know even more. But we come back to Sir Julian, who, being the non-chaotic, non-evil person that he is, decides to put the ship in reverse. And then I've just written down here, people falling over again. And this is how Slotra meets Dave, by falling into him and becoming good friends, shall we say.
So something good came out of it then. Fiasco. Yeah.
But to be honest, the whole Slotra Dave dynamic was unacceptably hilarious.
It was very steamy.
It was.
You left a lot more in than
I thought that. I thought
left in.
I thought
steam and steampunk.
I thought Josh will do the decent thing. He'll see some of this and he'll be like, well, maybe we're pushing it a bit. But no.
Maximum chaos.
Just leave it.
No, to be honest, I did debate. There is like the most outrageous stuff I did cut.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
There was more outrageous stuff than that.
Right.
I left in.
I didn't. Okay.
But I thought, it's. I don't want to like suppress Kyle's character to such a degree that it becomes something that it's not, because that would be unfair, I think. So from an editorial point of view, I chose to leave a lot of stuff in. also from an editorial point of view, we made the choice just before Christmas, with like the last couple of Lasers and Feelings and stuff, just to leave them as is for the most part and reduce the amount that we were editing. With the plan being that eventually we're going to start just running episodes pretty much as live. They'll probably still be pre-recorded, but we'll have a very minimal amount of editing in, just because it's easier for us, and also I think it actually kind of works pretty well.
I think the format of it is better. I mean, I go back and I've actually rewatched the first Lasers and Feelings recently, and the difference between that and what we do now is chalk and cheese. And I think it works better with the less editing. You know, you see it's not the background stuff, but you just get to see everything. And I think that works a lot better. Plus, we know what we're doing a bit more now, so we're not, trying to find our way through it anymore. It's a bit more, we've got a rough idea what's going on. Although, let's be honest, it can go nuts at any point, so you never know.
And frequently does.
Frequently does. Oh, yes. So, Sykes, you hear a ticking noise and you find an open door. And this is where the big story elements start to come into this, because something is going on. To be honest, Josh, there was absolutely no need for you to bring any story points into this. I get the reason that you did it. You obviously needed us to have, some big set piece, something big to happen whilst on the airship. But essentially, you didn't have to, did you? When you really look back.
I mean, it's interesting. There's kind of two ways of looking at it. I like everything that's happened, or everything that happened to the ship was intended to happen to the ship. I did put the ship there to be crashed by Bob. That is 100% true.
It happened. And I didn't know that either.
It's funny because I remember having a conversation with Ben maybe like a week before we filmed. And he was saying something like, "Oh, I can't be the greatest pilot in the world anymore." And I was like, No. Don't worry about that. You can still be that. There'll be flying stuff. Going, no, don't make him not a pilot.
Yeah.
I created a ship for you to crash.
Brilliant.
Don't make him not a pilot.
Wow, it happened.
Yes, it did.
I don't think maybe he's not a pilot. Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, probably. There's probably a lot less pilots. But yeah, no, it was intended. There's also, I mean, plot-wise, the things that happen on the ship, like the lady in blue coming up to you guys at the beginning, and then the things that happens and the people that you meet, apart from the kind of like Dave and Javier just came out of thin air because you needed somebody to be there. But like the other things that happens are part of the plot and part of the story, and they do have plot significance. There is a reason those things happened. Initially, I will tell you the reason you're on an airship and not on a train is specifically because I wanted Bob to crash the airship.
Brilliant.
Because initially, my first thought was like, it'll be a train, it'll be like the kind of Wild West heist thing of like, like you're on a train and something happens and the train stops and there's chaos and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, do you know what? That, but more chaotic, is Airship.
Oh, yeah. Certainly chaotic.
Oh, yeah.
But then, I mean, there was like, that ship was inevitably going to crash. Because of the bombs. So that was always going to happen. I needed a backup. If you all just literally just stayed in the bar and did nothing, then 2 minutes later the ship would have exploded and then you would have had to escape from the bar, and that would have been the sequence. But I'm so pleased that I was like, I'm pretty sure that Bob's going to want to get to the cockpit and fuck around.
He's pretty reliable with that.
Yeah.
I like how it's not that you're pretty sure he'll get to the cockpit. It's you're pretty sure he'll get to the cockpit and crash.
And want to pilot.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Jeez.
And it played out so well as well, with none of the it rocks back and forth and everyone gets affected kind of thing. None of that was in the plan. That was all just, oh, let's do that. That's funny.
That was funny. Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, yeah. As I say, we come to the more storied elements of it. So, Dr. Fortescue sees a fight, and this cloaked figure, who we nicknamed Zorro, as we didn't know who it was, jumps straight out of an escape hatch. And I see, in my head, I'm thinking this has got to be the bad guy. He's just killed somebody, and I don't know anything about there being any bombs yet. So I'm thinking, Doc's going to be a hero straight away. He's going to take this guy out. So of course, you got to pull the gun out. You got to take a shot, and not realizing how plot relevant he'd be later, because otherwise I wouldn't have done that, especially considering the amount of help he gives us. But I'm quite pleased that he managed to shoot him, to be honest, for a very drunk man.
It's a good shot.
Probably more luck than anything.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I should, in hindsight, I should have made it a hard shot.
George trajectory.
Yeah.
I should have made it a laser feeling shot, not just a laser shot, whatever it was.
You were kind. Oh yeah, definitely. And the fact that he sees him as well, they see each other, is just more hilarious for later, for the comedy moment of oh dear. So I had to write this out, the exact wording of it, because it was so hilarious. Sir Julian decides to politely, with full force, push the pilot.
Yeah.
I don't look. That makes sense.
Sorry, I'm going to push you really hard now.
Yeah.
Not politely.
Politely, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Look, I didn't want to cause any trouble. All right.
Sounds good. Oh, so lucky you didn't, then, isn't it?
Yeah. I hope me saying that affected the role slightly. Josh was like, he's doing it politely.
So yeah, it's fine.
We'll
I was
let him off slightly.
Well, as you now know, I wanted you to crush the ship, so I was like, how can we make him do the most damage?
But then, on top of that, you've already put the ship in reverse. You politely push somebody, and the wheel's spinning. Things are going wrong. Everyone's sort of running towards you, and then all of a sudden you slam the ship into full throttle forward, and so everyone goes flying again.
Yeah. Good question. I don't know. Even I don't know why that happened. I mean, that was down to Julian, not me.
But to be honest, the person who went flying the most, if you remember from all the roles, was Sir Julian Bovington Smythe. I don't think you managed to pass a single one of those rolls where it was like, trying to stay on your feet.
I didn't have any gin and brothels, but I probably did have a few drinks before, we met him. So he was probably, had a few drinks, so that didn't help. And, it is Sir Julian, so...
That's true.
Not the most stable man.
Sir Julian, unstable Bovington Smythe.
Yeah.
I like that. It's that's basically perfect for his character, isn't it?
I mean, he would say stable, but obviously it's just he's unstable.
Can I shout out one of my favourite comedy moments in that, which was just a simple one line from you, Rob, where when the first time the ship starts listing, you're like, your very unstable character goes, oh, everything's righted itself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was perfect. I had to do it.
Such a good line.
Oh, dear. Well, So next we find, by the way, I really like the fact they were sort of like jumping around and we were finding out so many different things about the ship and what was going on from different characters' points of view. Next, Sykes finds a bomb. And I like this fact because you've got a little, what's the reason for having a scalpel on you for Sykes? Or do we not know?
I think it's something to dig into a bit more. And there's a little special Easter egg thing I just said to help you try and discover what that is.
That was very good.
I didn't mean to, but it happened. It was totally accidental, but I was like, that was kind of great what I just said. I'm gonna roll with it. It's like, cool.
Then you kick the game away.
So it's to kind of give a reason for that. But for now, I'm gonna just say, just happen to have one.
Okay, well, interesting. I'd like to see how that pays off later. But you actually try and manage, after 2 attempts, to disarm the bomb, which is...
Yeah, I nearly died episode 1 in the first half hour, yeah.
Yeah.
I really, genuinely don't know what I would have done if you'd exploded a bomb in your face.
My character, Sykes was willing to take that chance. So
Please leave the table.
I was like, I can't, because genuinely there was a role for you to blow up the bomb, and you were one off. And I was like, oh boy.
Well, did I not roll lazy feelings on the very critical roll?
You did. You rolled, did. Yeah, the second time you did it, yeah, you rolled laser feelings. Because I think that's the thing with your character is that it had to be lasers, because in all forms of logic, it had to be a lasers roll. And you're a LF2, so I was like, what could I do?
I mean, if I died, it's egg on my face, right? But it's
new character immediately.
It's all right.
Virgil walks out of a door going, what the fuck was that?
Brilliant.
Yeah, Julian would be happy to see him.
You just know straight away you'd call him Vernon, wouldn't you?
He just like comes out of the bathroom going, woo-hee! And then like gets like, what's going on here? Gets blown out in his window. Catches on the screws parachute. But no, thankfully I did pretty well. I think I made the joke of like, see, it's with the red wire. That's what it got me, because usually that's the one you don't cut, but this time they see that's what they wanted you to think. So
see, it works. See, yeah, but it's brilliant. I like it. Now we come to the bit where Sir Julian puts us all in peril. As he falls against the wheel, and the ship begins to dive straight down towards the ground, with not long for us to save ourselves. So I just want to say thank you, Sir Julian.
Okay, it was mainly the incompetence of the other pilots that did it. But...
Okay, yeah, of course. And of course, this is where Josh's unnecessary explosions happen.
You still carried on with the explosions, even though...
They're like, aha, I did it!
That is a really funny moment from Sykes, where it's like the explosions start going off, you're like, hold on, I got the bomb, what?
Running with the actual other bomb in my hand to the nearest thing.
Well, as I say, the explosions are a plot point, but it's just, it was somewhat exacerbated. Like, because I had in my head, because it's always, like, the way I built that whole section was that there was always things that you could discover, and you found all but one, I think, things that were there, you found between you lot.
Oh, we have to replay the episode then, so we can get all the collectibles.
Yeah, all the collectibles. Yeah. If you'd gone down a corridor and taken a left, you would have found a collectible toy superhero, and it would have been like
100% list.
Yeah. Little reward at the end.
Yeah. We'll do Shooters and Sympathies.
The little Xbox achievement popped up on screen.
The rehash. What was I saying?
We missed everything.
Look, there was like the idea originally was like the ship, the things would explode and it wouldn't fall out of the sky immediately. Like it wouldn't be the whole like diving towards the ground thing. It would be like an escape sequence where you have to like find your way out or find your way to safety, and everyone was escaping that way. But at that stage, it was like, well, two of you, like most of you, were nearer to methods of escape that were quite easy. So it's just funnier if it's just like plummeting out of the sky.
Yeah.
Because of something Bob did.
Well, yeah, like you said, I mean, both Sykes and Slaughter are right next to the escape pods anyway. I think in fact, because so Julian actually rolled a laser feelings at some point, which meant you could ask the question of another escape pod, or like how the hell are you going to get out of this?
My original plan was I wanted to do something incredibly stupid. I wanted to put a hole in the window and then time it correctly that I could jump out the window before it hit the ground.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever heard that thing of the elevator? If you jump at exactly the right time,
Julian doesn't know that.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, I could do it, it'd be funny, but then...
you would have died. Yeah.
Yeah.
You would have died. Like, I couldn't, because it's a difficult thing. It's one of those really interesting kind of DMGM decisions where I was like, well, I decided beforehand that I wanted character death to be a real possibility, and then I would hope that no one killed themselves. Or at least if someone dies, it's in an interesting way that kind of adds to the story. So I was in that situation like, well, I break my own rules if I let you live from that situation without rolling something ridiculous. I think I probably would have done it at like triple laser feelings or something.
I tell you what, it would have been a brilliant death.
Oh yeah. all from wanting to pilot.
Yeah,
it's the way you'd want to go.
Yeah, fair point.
I mean, that would have been a turn up. Maybe another time if Bob was in it, and he dies immediately, and then another character comes along. That would have been interesting,
stakes, doesn't it?
Yeah. So this is where Dr. Fortescue, comes up with the brilliant plan of grabbing a tablecloth and jumping out of an airship with naught but a tablecloth and quite a lot of booze to hold him down as well. That's absolutely bloody ridiculous. Oh, so do you know what? Sorry, I realised I've just missed a point, which is the moment that we find out that Javier is dead from one of the explosions. I mean, a very sad moment for all, I have to say. Best character.
He won't come back.
Definitely not. He won't be there again.
He won't definitely always come back.
No,
he's not actually an immortal god.
But yeah, I mean, Josh, you made Dr. Fortescue come up or make the incredibly difficult decision to save his own life or not, by having to drop the booze that he just picked up, the loot, as it were. So with tears in his eyes, let's be honest, he had to drop the booze. But I mean, that's fine. I'm sure he'll find more elsewhere, so don't worry about it.
I mean, there's always that possibility of alcohol. Put it that way.
That is so true.
It's the Wild West.
In a Western setting, yeah, absolutely. But we have the airship itself crashes and explodes, and wreckage everywhere, people injured everywhere. The rest of the characters are fine. Doc, I think did we say we sprained his ankle or something quite badly?
Yeah, you took a point of damage coming down.
Yeah. I think that was the first point of damage, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot more later on.
It was one of those situations where I probably would have made you roll for how much damage you took if you'd stayed with the alcohol. But I was like, please don't do it because I know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Funny thing, we're talking about fall damage, right? If I can just do a random segue. So see with the D&D stuff and the things I rolled if you fell down the things, right? So I recently discovered it should have been 1d6 per 10 feet.
Yeah.
And it was 50 feet. I read this later on. I was wrong. So that could have taken out the kid straight away.
Yeah.
Which is obviously, I was just because I read 50 feet somewhere, but it was wrong information basically. and it was something like, oh shit, I don't actually know. Oh, I totally forgot to look that up before the game. And
I wasn't specifically aware, but I was aware that I probably should have died in that sequence. Also, I think the like climbing out of that distance was wrong. I think I queried it at the time.
Yeah, there was a lot of wrong things in that.
I was like,
but hey, it was a great story.
There came a point where I was like, do you know what? Who cares? We'll just get on with it.
Yeah. It was still a good story, but it's still like there's so many rules. But anyway, I thought it was just funny too because I was like, just in case anyone didn't know, you should have like a lot of you fell.
Runt really should have died in that cave.
Yeah.
I will say though, I always think that the way of doing it, and this way I've always thought about Lasers and Feelings, is if you're not sure on the rules after about 10 seconds, you decide there and then as the GM, this is the rule I'm going to go with. You know.
Yeah. I mean, even when I made the call, I was like half sure. I was kind of like, I'm going to have to look at this after the game. I was like,
Well, at the end of the day, you know, you do what you think is fair, what you feel is fair in the circumstances.
Yeah.
And you know, you go with it. That's the whole point of you being
boring,
there.
Though, if you'd have just died falling down that thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think the idea of him coming back up again afterwards and like basically being Super Saiyan, as it were, that was so cool.
It was worth it for that to happen, the way it did go.
Does that also mean that when I pushed that monster off, when I rugby tackled him off, that it might have actually killed it?
You probably would have taken half with the size he was. No, actually, he was not. He had not grown. So yes, he would have as well. He would have took similar damage.
Wow.
So.
Rugby tackles again.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's like up to 1d6 per feet. So that's what, up to 30 damage.
Yeah, 5d6.
Damn.
Wow.
So you're probably talking. You might have scraped to survival. If you'd have rolled all ones, then you could have survived that. But like, not clever.
Yeah.
Not worth it. Not worth the risk. Yeah.
With jumping over things.
Not clever at all. But yeah. But I mean, it does bring up an interesting point insofar as like the difference between having death as an option or not, or like not so much death as an option because, as you're right, we had Barry die in Lasers and Feelings, but having death be a random option, I guess, where something really unsatisfying could happen to somebody, and what do you do about that? Because I think that's kind of what my whole thing was, or what I discovered in this whole like ship crash sequence, where Sykes could have died to the bomb, Bov and Fortescue could have died in the crash, and like, well, how do you balance that? Thankfully, everyone managed to get out of it okay, but yeah, it would have been like there's a point where I'm like, well, I can't not kill someone.
It would have been actually a one-shot if that had happened.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's the one shot where everyone tried to escape from a burning crash and didn't, and that was the end.
Yeah.
Really unsatisfying story.
But a one shot.
The one shot.
It's a story of health and safety.
Yes. Brought to you by the Think campaign. Don't drink before you drive.
Compile it, yeah.
Sponsored by.
Amazing.
Before we move on, I will show you.
Yes.
I will show you this one thing.
Oh.
Because I don't know. I think I might have mentioned it in episode. I don't know if I put it in the edit. I can't remember. But each of the kind of set piece areas has a map that I drew beforehand. So this is the airship map. Which I'll put.
Oh wow.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So designed to 2 layers. I kind of added. I added a kitchen in like down there somewhere.
Okay.
Because I wasn't expecting a kitchen to come up. I didn't think of it beforehand, but everything was kind of already preset as to where things were. So it wasn't like you guys were going off somewhere random. Everything was specifically in places. So when I made a joke with Javier about saying he went through the lounge, it's because Sykes went through the lounge to get to Javier.
Interesting.
So, it's all there, and it always has been. There's always been a map for places that you've been, apart from if you're just in the middle of nothing, because then there's nothing there to map.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
That's the other thing that I will reveal now, and then you'll see more maps as things get ticked off down the line.
Cool.
That was your GM Insight segment.
Yes.
I really want us to get to a point where, because a lot of the stuff that we've done with you so far, you've got mapped and planned out. I want to get to a segment where something happens, you're like, huh? Because those are the moments to really fuck you up.
I don't think. Well, okay. So I mean, we'll come on to like invisible walls later on. Maybe we'll have let's have the invisible walls discussion later on when we get to like wandering the desert and stuff.
That bit. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Which was hilarious.
We can talk about the game design element of it, because I did put quite a lot of thought into how can I naturally stop you from destroying me.
That's
He's learned
one
from
thing
Rob.
I never think about.
Contingencies.
You do have it harder though, Rob, because there's a lot more variables.
I think
behind
that's absolutely 100% true. Is that with space and with lasers and feelings, you can literally go to another planet. And it's absolutely impossible because you can transport or teleport or go anywhere at like the drop of a hat. Whereas here, you're limited to, where can you walk to, where can you like get a horse to or fly to within a certain amount of time, because nothing's like super crazy technology.
That's true. Well, shall we carry on with our adventure then? So we got to the point where the airship crashes. And of course, Doc, being a good and honourable man, tries to save somebody from the wreckage. That doesn't go very well. I mean, I was trying to be a good person. I just rolled incredibly badly, and I instead may have accidentally killed someone.
Oh my god.
But when you get to that point where you're like, oh, I've killed them, should I be sad or something like that? I was like, I don't think this character would actually care. He just like,
He's so drunk.
Yeah, he's so drunk that he has no idea what's really going on. So I just thought, no, it's fine. No, I think I just said,
He's sleeping.
I'm pretty sure I just said it's better this way.
Oh, it was dark. It was so dark.
Oh, it's so
It was
good.
pretty bad.
So good.
It was pretty bad.
I think I remember when that moment happened. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like me, as in David. It's like I was just like, "What the shit? Just killing that person!"
Well, he deserved it.
I mean, Julian had a higher kill count at that point, probably.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, I don't even estimate how many people Julian killed in that
We
sequence.
You know what? Chat should keep a kill counter.
Also, not to exonerate Julian or Fortescue, I will say both Sykes and Slotcher and Dave fucked off in their escape pods on their own. These things are life raft for like 20 or 30 people, and they left them empty.
Okay,
Brilliant.
Josh, how many people were on this airship?
Oh, so I'm winning.
I imagine there's probably like a couple of hundred people. Yeah,
Oh no.
big ship.
Oh dear.
Oh,
Wow.
Well,
yes.
I didn't see anyone.
There are more survivors.
we may have
You did find some survivors and some of the
That's
crew
true.
and stuff.
Yeah,
I didn't.
that Akers didn't kill.
Oh, Julian.
we may have accidentally
will.
Titanic
I think we will see in future episodes like some of the survivors turning up. Basically like that was my one backup plan. Is like there are more survivors left. So should anyone's character die, their survivor, then the other character can kind of just wander out of the desert and be like, "Oh, I was lost in the desert from the crash."
Brilliant. Well, from that point, everybody else comes down safely from their life rafts, as it were. And this three-legged walker appears as if by magic and then indiscriminately starts firing at people, which I thought was bloody rude. So what an interesting development, as it were. And all of a sudden, we just got out of a crashed ship and we got a fight on our hands. So Dr. Fortescue, he's a clever man. He likes to drink. He's got booze on him. Why would you not create a Molotov cocktail? It's obvious, isn't it? It's just his aim isn't quite good enough. Because, and this is what I love about him, is Dr. Fortescue completely misses the walker, and then all of a sudden, Javier is right there. He's fine. He has actually survived. And then he immediately gets hit with a Molotov cocktail and is dead once again. And I do feel like this could happen a few more times if we're not careful. It's a great character.
It was one of those where, like, genuinely, and I said it in episode, just wasn't obviously not a planned character. It was just something that happened completely in the spur of the moment. Because Virgil wanted a tour, and I was like, well, who's he going to get a tour from? It's just like, there's a fucking, he finds a porter, sure. Yeah. And then accidentally was a great character. Yeah. So I was like, well, do you know what? For every rule there is an exception, and Javier can be the exception to the rule, because he's not exactly going to be a great fighter or have any great influence on the plot to that extent. But, people like him, so...
Yeah. Do you know what? I think I've got a theory. Got a theory that Javier is Zorro. And
you don't know? Have you seen them together? No.
Oh my god. It's possible. Anyway, moving on. Sir Julian is honourable in his next move. Always honourable.
I'd never not be honourable.
Knowing that the walker is, firing indiscriminately at everyone, he grabs hold of the captain and uses him as a human shield.
I wonder where I got inspiration for that from.
And can I just say that if Dr. Fortescue dies, I want to come back as the captain.
I think sadly, I think the captain died in that sequence.
Oh, did he?
I wonder why.
Yeah, I know.
Yes. I can't imagine where you got inspiration for that.
Good old human shield. They're the most effective ones. So Julian does love a good human shield.
I mean, yeah, technically, you've hit
the last time.
So yes, human shield for Bob. Sykes decides that he's going to find and try to arm a bomb, which I really like the idea of. You've just disarmed a bomb, and now you're like, right, I know how this works. Go and grab a bomb and see if we can deal this thing some damage. I think that's a really cool idea, to be honest. However, I think man or woman or other of the match is Slotra, who becomes a rocket launcher. I mean, and Josh, I actually want to ask if this was unfortunately we're not having Carl here, if this was something you had spoken to Carl about in regards to like what, as an android, he would have available to him for weapons, or whether it was something that was just like, oh, an android, I can have a rocket launcher, it's fine.
The latter. Yep, no, rocket launcher was a surprise to me as well.
Now we know how to get him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's all be androids from now on.
It was one of those. Yeah, it was one of those.
Antimatter beam.
It was one of those where I was just like, wish you'd told me that was a thing before. But it's like, okay, well, I don't want to stop anyone having fun, and I'm like, okay, cool. The only thing that I can do in that situation is very quickly make up a set of rules for the rocket launcher, which I did in my head, and then counterbalance it by changing the status of the enemies as well. So, that fight basically played out more or less as intended. But like further down the line, the enemies might get slightly harder where Slotra's involved because he's got a rocket launcher. So
I would say I think that's probably true for most fights, because when you're in a fight sort of environment, or when you sort of enter a fight, you are sort of locked into that stage usually. So I would say that's probably the time when you're least likely to actually be completely derailed. So I do think that's that happens for every game, whether it's Shooters and Sympathies or Dungeons and Dragons or Lasers and Feelings, because it's that one time where you're all going up against an enemy, so yeah, I mean, as you say, you can make the rules as you go along with these sorts of things.
Yeah.
I really like the idea that the thing is I think that's actually quite clever from Kyle as well, because being an android gives you that extra, you can have hidden things, and you can become a transformer basically if you really want to, because you are a mechanical being, you're not flesh and blood, so you can be extra things. You can be a grill, Ben. You can have a barbecue.
You could be a really good chef.
Yeah. It's actually a very interesting point, because it's like, I suppose there's a really interesting kind of gameplay point insofar as it's really cool to have something like that, and have someone because you can see the visual of him transforming, and he described it really well of how the arm comes out. I mean, it was it was very Kyle, but you can really imagine it. But then it's like, well, how do you balance that so that the game is fair and it doesn't 'cause the one thing that I don't ever want is to have a god on the field, because that's just totally unfair to the other players, and it's unfair to the game, because it just tips the game out of balance and it makes it dull, effectively. I don't want cheat codes. So it's how do you allow that kind of creativity without it being a cheat code?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, at least 2 of the 4 characters are really crap at fighting, so yeah.
Yes, there was a kind of natural balance there for some reason.
Why is it all my characters are always crap at fighting?
What is just having really bad luck with dice?
You're definitely going to die.
First of all, I'm definitely going to die.
Yeah.
But I obviously need to get better dice.
A bit of a dice curse going on,
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, sure.
I think so.
You need dice gel. That's what you need.
Yeah. So yes, Slotra is a heavy hitter at the start of this fight, and then a second walker appears, and he takes a shot at the doc, and he's injured. And then we realise we forgot Slotra's turn, and it all gets rewound. And I really like that moment, because it comes back to Slotra, who has their turn, and then we go, and then a second Josh, you go, a second walker appears, and everyone goes, what? We make a huge thing of that.
Oh, funny.
It's so bloody funny, man.
That was so good.
I actually rewatched the second half of this episode today, just so we had a few sort of questions and bits and pieces to talk about, and I was just laughing so hard at that today. Genuinely, that was for me the funniest bit.
I'm gonna clip that up and put that out just as a little 10 second because it's so funny.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, it's absolutely hilarious. Yeah. But here's the annoying thing about that walker: is it decides to be good. And manages to hit every single person. So everybody takes a shot straight away, and all of a sudden we're looking at people realizing, damn, some of us have like 1 or 2 shots left, and any sort of big injuries, and we might already be done. So yeah, that was realizing the stakes was a bit of a worry, to be honest. But Boff comes in with his cane and arrow, and it's not like a Sir Julian to hit somebody in the eye with a cane. I've never heard of this.
No, that's very foreign to me.
Yeah.
Anyone here? Probably.
But the thing is, what that does is it means that one of the robots is out of order straight away.
I do question the strength of these robots, I have to say. If taking being shot in the eye with a cane.
The pilot,
top,
yeah.
Yeah, pilot on top.
Oh, it was
yeah.
the pilot.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, first of all, good shot. But secondly,
Obviously.
it also takes them out of being able to attack us for the next go, which becomes very important because Sykes is down to his last hit point. So that's already a worry. Slotra once again rolls a laser feelings and almost completely decimates the second walker. So all of a sudden we're in a fairly good fighting position. And then somebody just comes in and steals it. This masked Zorro man enters stage right. And with ease, shall we say, destroys the first walker and then starts firing on the second walker himself, which... Why didn't one of us do that?
I think Bob tried, to be fair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true, actually. He tried to climb up.
the walker at one point. I was like, yeah. It's already in the plan. Lay it down.
Yeah.
I can do this mechanically.
We should have fixed those up, shouldn't we? And, use them.
They're still in the desert burning if you want them.
Oh, well, I'm going to go back and find them. That wouldn't go wrong.
So, things are going well. We've got one walker left. The doc manages to shoot yet another person in the shoulder. And then Sykes, I think it took 3 turns in the end of playing with his bomb and trying to get it sorted. And then this brilliant idea of sticking it right underneath one of the feet and it just clamping down on it. Wonderful idea.
I think wasn't it one of the joints in the thing, and once it compressed, it would trigger it or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I think it was a timed bomb, so it was going to go off, and then you had this idea of running over to the walker and sticking it into the articulated joint bit.
Yeah.
To
that
blow
was
its
it.
leg off. And then I had you roll damage because I was the walkers they had hit points. They have more similar to D&D rules where if you did X amount of damage then you killed the thing plus there's some folks on board and you happen to roll specifically the exact number of hit points that you needed to take out the walker.
Yes.
Perfecto.
Yes.
So yeah, lovely.
Around, slow-mo, explosion behind me.
Yeah. Slow mo for a moment.
Cool. Shit.
I did not face first in the dirt.
Yeah,
I really.
You had your cool moment at least,
Yeah. 2 seconds.
So, we finally found out who Masked Zorro is, and confirms that his name is the Ghost of No Hope. And rather hilariously, twice mentions the town to the east. With Bob also finding out about an establishment to the south as well.
Didn't get lost. Surprisingly.
Didn't get lost, no.
Yeah.
But
navigator than pilot.
But this is, Josh knew this was coming because, you could see it from a mile off. There, there's 4 characters. There's, 4 main points on a compass. Mm-hmm. It was always going to happen, wasn't it? So we all, it's north, south, east, west. It's, it was always going to happen.
It's the most predictable thing in the world, honestly.
Yeah, it was. That's the thing. We were. I think Kyle even said, we're going to fuck him up here." And I just looked over and you were like, "I've got a plan for this."
I was so happy. Honestly, I was so happy because I was like, it'll be the cool because it's never happened where everyone went in a different direction, and I had a plan for that exact scenario. What happened was people ended up in pairs, but I had a plan for that exact scenario where everyone found a different piece of the story, and then we were getting this kind of intricate weaving puzzle story that was unfolding. in 4 different places. It would have been. It's just, you know, you do miss the one thing you miss is it's so much fun when the characters are together and you get to see the interactions between the characters, which you would miss. But it would have been so different. So different, and everyone would have had really different experiences.
I think it would have been another 100 hours long though, because, you know, to be able to get those stories out, you know, that's going to take a long old time. But I mean, I think it was Slotcher and Sykes were the two that got lost. And Kyle made the very clever point that he can't die from no water because he's an android. So technically, he could have gone on forever, really. But
I'd have done something at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, it ended up with Sykes heading towards. I think that horses picked them up, and then there's a brilliant moment where it's like, "There's a town to the east of here." So a horseman picked up Sykes, and then Slotcher does eventually head south towards where Bov was going. And Bov, you find Nope Springs, and and rather hilariously, you decide the best thing to do in this town that seems very deserted is to shout the word Bovril as loudly as possible.
Wait, what's his Bovril? He hasn't had his fix of Bovril.
I love how though it's the pure arrogance from Sir Julian, because this old man comes out and he's sort of saying, you know, who are you? And you're like, I'm the mayor of this town. Just straight away.
I like how this man's probably lived here all his life.
Yeah.
This guy. Yeah, I mean, come on, that's very Julian.
Oh yeah, so much fun.
It reminds me of Loki in Thor Ragnarok, where they help. I think he's on the floor, and is it the stone guy? Comes to help him out, and immediately he's like, right, I'm in charge of this lot now. Like, it's the first, you know, straight away he's like, I'm the leader of this team. It just very, very much reminds me of Sir Julian. But you find a very old man with a hell of a lot of pets and some brilliant names, I got to say, Josh, for those pets. In particular, I think it was a rabbit or something, a rabbit that was just called Gun. I thought it was
a buttery guy called Gun. Yeah, that was one of those. So I was just like, well, he has a bunch of pets. What if they're all named Gun names?
Yeah, I like how you went through Smith and Wesson and all those, like, and then you just went and Gun.
It was one of those. It was just a pre-written joke. That's all it was. I was like, what if he had all these pets? And he just lists off grabbing name of gun brand, and there's just a tiny little thing called Gun.
Oh dear. And of course, Slotcher arrives in Nope Springs a few minutes later. The old man is a little wary of him, but you know, you guys find out that he grows things, and you go to take a look, and that is the point where we end the story with you guys, and it comes back to Sykes and Doctor, both been picked up at this point by the Horsemen, and enter a place called Fortune's Cross. Which is a lovely little callback to Fortune Favours the Brave at the start of the episode, which I really like. And that is unbelievably the end of the first episode right there. Interesting, because it leaves us in 2 separate places instead of... I mean, we've done 2 separate places before, but never at a point where we've ended there, and going into the next episode we're still in two separate places. So I will say, having filmed the next episode, it's a pretty good one, isn't it? But it's quite interesting to see how that plays off, you know, the dynamics of having different characters in different places, and also, as you say, paired off in quite odd pairings, I would say. Yeah. Which I think works off of each other quite nicely, because I would say the 2 most chaotic are probably together, and the two. Well, see, the Doc isn't chaotic; he's just drunk. So I think the two sort of not calmer, but the two not so
docile,
insane. are sort of together as well, and it's nice to sort of see how that works together. You haven't got this kind of like the kind of a Laurel and Hardy thing going on with one's a nutter and one's it's a different sort of pairing. I think it actually works really well for the story.
It's different. It's very different.
Yeah.
And Julian really gets a redemption arc as well, which is really nice. So.
I have to say, I cannot remember a lot of what happens in the next episode.
Yeah,
and that is because
good redemption arc. That's all I'm saying.
That is because
find out, won't we?
I remember some of it, and I remember there's not a good redemption arc. There's some very cool things. I don't think it's a spoiler to say there's a couple of very cool fights in the next episode as well, and we begin to get some ideas as to the types of stories and things that might be going on in this universe or in this world. But Josh, there was one more question I wanted to ask, which was just about the people and the places that we didn't meet that we definitely won't see in the future. Is there anything that we missed that we will not see that you can sort of, let us know about?
No.
Ooh, interesting.
That is to say that everywhere that you could go is still on the board. Mm-hmm. There are places that are probably unlikely now, I would say. They're like it's interesting because the whole idea was that to give you a very wide playground, particularly like the whole airship crash thing. That was just a kind of one-off sequence. Obviously, the whole point was to get you onto the playing field. The playing field being the desert and the towns and stuff. And the whole idea is that once you're in that area and you can go wherever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say earlier about invisible walls and stuff like that. The whole wandering the desert rule set that I came up with was to basically stop you from just and now I walk home across the desert for 30 days or something because you will just die at some point. But there's still stuff out there that you haven't discovered, and it's still there to be discovered. It's one of those things where I can only really tell you at the end of the game if there was anything that you absolutely missed, because by its very nature everything is still on the board. There's only one plot point really that you missed in the ship, but it still happened anyway. Story-wise and plot-wise, there are things that are happening regardless of whether you do anything to them or not. And then hopefully the further we get into the story, the more your influence on the story will start to show. As you meet more of the kind of active parties, I guess, without trying to give away any spoilers. You've met quite a lot of people, and you'll see how they're relevant later on. Everyone you've met is relevant, and everything that you've done is relevant to the story. I will say that. You may not realise it. But I tried to make it so that you're never doing something just because. That there's always a reason for things to happen, and it always contributes to the story, even if you're not aware of it doing so. Hopefully, at some point, you'll look back and go, "Oh, that was doing that." Sure.
I think this is where the main difference between how we run Lasers and Feelings, how we run Shooters and Sympathies comes in, because obviously, in the obvious side of it is they're very similar, a couple of changes here and there, but it feels like Shooters and Sympathies is very episodic. Sorry, do I mean episodic? Continuous is probably the word I'm looking for, actually. Whereas Lasers and Feelings, it's almost like an episode of Friends, where,
well, it is more episodic, isn't it?
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's So it's so it kind of feels like it's a new thing going. You might have the occasional 2-part or whatever, but most of the time it's a new thing happening each time. But with this Shooters and Sympathies, everything is so interlinked and interlaced, and I think that's a really cool way to do things.
I think it's one of those things that it's kind of halfway between what you and what David did with Lasers and Feelings and D&D, insofar as obviously I'm taking a rule set that's more like Lasers and Feelings, but doing a game that's closer to D&D insofar as, there are restrictions, there are rules, and also there is a story which it just continues in a straight line. There's no episode of the week makes it sound like monster of the week makes it sound disparaging. That's not really what I mean. I guess the way to put it is Lasers and Feelings is a bit like kind of old school TV, like Star Trek or something like that, where they have a new adventure every week. It's the same characters and they have relationships which build over time and whatever. Yeah. But the thing that they're doing each week changes, whereas what I'm doing is closer to like modern TV idea where you have characters that are on a singular story throughout a season.
So you heard it here first. We're to expect Game of Thrones by the end of this, yeah.
What a dreadful ending, then.
Yeah, really terrible, really shit ending.
You're going to speed it up right at the end.
Yeah. I'm just going to really speed it up at the end, and you're going to find, like somebody for no reason is going to become like Javier is going to go really evil for no reason, and then try and melt a chair.
Or a desert walker.
Yeah, like the big bad guy that I've been teasing all this time. He's just going to turn up and die immediately. Yeah,
I'll just kill it with one cane poke or something.
Yeah, that'll be it. It's just over then. Yeah, and then you kill it, and then all the army just immediately shatters and dies because why not?
I mean, let's be honest. If we want this to be 4 episodes, that's probably what will have to happen.
We joke about it, but there is a scenario where I'm just like, and then they died, and that was the end.
Oh god.
Oh god. The end.
Live happily ever after.
Well, we all want to see that, let's be honest.
You really don't.
Well, so what do we have coming up next week? I mean, as I said, the fights are awesome. Some sort of very clever ideas. I genuinely cannot remember what it is that the old man is growing. So I'm honestly looking forward to finding out what that is, because it's just completely lost to my brain. I think that's partially because obviously so much was happening over in Fortune's Cross. But I just remember how hilarious some of the stuff, or some of the stupid stuff that me and Sykes did. It was just brilliant.
I don't remember at all.
I don't remember either.
It was like August, I think we filmed it in. It was a while ago. Because, as I say, we only like to film every 6 months.
It does feel like a long time. But I mean, yeah.
I'll watch it after we film.
Yeah. I think I'm. Sorry, Josh. I should have asked. Is there? I take it there's no trailer for this one this week.
No, sorry.
No.
The problem is that I'm editing all of them, so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
if you were editing one of them, then there would be a trailer.
There'd be a trailer, but just not that one.
Just one.
But I mean, the next one is actually coming out on a Tuesday, isn't it? 18th of next week. And that is because, well, as Josh said, we're doing some filming next week, and that's actually starting on the Wednesday. So we need to obviously we want to be around and available so we can watch along with the rest of you and comment along, because that's half the fun. So yeah, that'll be coming out on the 18th. Are we looking at an 8 o'clock start again?
I think it'll be another 7 o'clock start. It's looking like another closer to 3 hour episode. All of the Rolly Grail episodes from now on could be longer. I will say that. Because we're not editing as much. Like some of the recordings that we did before were like 3 or 4 hour recordings, but we edited them down to like 2.5 hours. But like, be warned, episodes might start getting longer now just because we're leaving stuff in. So 7 o'clock
true.
probably might be the newer time slot for game broadcasts.
And just to tease Gravity Rip, which can come in for a couple more months, but I started writing up
It'll be here in no time.
I know. I started writing up the first episode, and I genuinely had to ask. I created a couple of races to sort of go up against these guys, and I genuinely had to ask Ben earlier whether I was taking things too far. And
Never.
And yes,
obviously
you
the
are.
answer
Never.
was no.
No, the answer is yes, you are, but you use them anyway.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, yes, I'm very much looking forward to that. But yes, first of all, we have to finish off Shooters and Sympathies. It's about to go down. Yeah, I'm probably looking forward to Tuesday. I think it's gonna be a right laugh.
It's good. It's funny. It's different. There's a lot less combat in this episode coming up, and a lot more character stuff. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, I can't wait to finish the game because, like, as I say, like you've got to like only one really of the major plot points. You've got quite a lot of minor plot points, but you've only got to one of the big ones. And I've been waiting. I've been waiting for stuff to happen. Been waiting, and it's gonna happen soon because you're like real close.
Oh, okay. Brilliant.
It's exciting.
That is maybe a lovely tease to end on, I think. Yes, before we finish off, anything that anyone wants to add before we go?
I play tested the homebrew time travel thing, so with some other players. So I worked out a couple of things that were possible kings. So it's definitely basically running the same kind of adventure with you guys, but obviously it's going to be a bit different. And I've got some of your characters already.
My character is so great.
Yeah, I've sent over my character as well, and it's very stupid.
Oh, peak stupid by character. It's great. I can't wait to meet yours.
I am worried that we're all going to be terrible, but in the best possible
Guaranteed,
way.
isn't it?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that this is the thing. We've got to the point now where we found, the niche for us. The thing is, we play D&D or we play Layers and Feelings in a bad way, and that's half the fun. So now we know we can get the right characters around that.
Based on what I did with my playtest group, they I found really play to that character because your stats will help you a lot in that regard if you do play in your character style. So I definitely found there was a heavy emphasis on that, with the occasional rolling for other things that were hilarious because the way the stats are dished out. So yeah, it really plays to the characters, which is good because it is more an RP based thing. Because it makes again
I'm
the
looking forward
lasers.
to it. Yeah, I'm excited.
Game systems I've played.
Hey, Blazy.
Hey.
Hey, good to see you in the chat. Such a shame that we're just about to finish.
Yeah.
Well, to that extent, I will say that last week's episode of Shooters and Sympathies is now live on YouTube. Took longer than anticipated because rendering problems. So many rendering problems for that episode. My goodness. But it's up now. It's on YouTube. You can find it if you search Rolly Grail on YouTube or Shooters and Sympathies, probably, because I don't think there's anything else called Shooters and Sympathies. Although I do need to go and update all the hashtags and stuff on it, but I will do that. I just find that. I should get the link. I'll put the link in the chat.
Oh, well, that's far too professional. I don't like it.
Yes. But while he's doing that, yes. But yeah, it was exciting. I'm really excited with the time travel stuff. We played with that. Played with other stats, how combat can work, and other elements. There was an element that I've added, which is on your thing, so I'll need to send that. So it's not on your actual character sheet, but it's more to do with combat. Like I was like, we need that kind of to hit mechanics. So there's something in there as well.
Cool.
And yeah, had managed to work out combat things because it was that was particularly tricky, I would say. So some changes had to happen there. So, but obviously, hopefully get a chance to do that soon as well.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'm looking forward to that. We're recording a lot of stuff quite soon, and I'm like, I can't wait. I can't wait to play some games.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
I'm looking
It's
forward
been a
to
while. It's been a while. When did we record Juliverse?
has.
Like the beginning of December?
Oh God,
Been a month.
was it that long ago? Oh my
Yeah.
God.
that. It feels
Wow.
a long time ago.
Yeah. Wow.
Do the rest, yeah.
Alrighty then, peeps. We better call it there. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to tune in Tuesday of next week. That is Tuesday the 18th at 7 p.m. To watch Shooters and Sympathies episode 2. Mr. Josh has put the link for episode 1 on YouTube if you want to watch it there. Yes, very much looking forward to this one. So take it easy, everyone, and we will see you next Tuesday. Not like that, though.
Wow, what a way to end. What a way to end.
Whoops.
Bye.
I genuinely didn't even mean that.